Dum, 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 dum,
Space between, space between, space between. Space between.
What's going on? It's the Space Between podcast where we talk about the space between life and art, passion and business, what's happening now and what's happening next. I'm Pat Shand.
I'm Amy Shand. Hello.
And I'm Shannon Lee.
And right now, our fourth member, Ryan, is not here. He has unfortunately joined a unit of dog catchers, and he's busy doing what he does, catching dogs.
Yeah, I
right.
hope that he is returning them back to their owners afterwards or finding them new homes.
I mean, generally in fiction, Amy right now is struggling with a bag of Cheez-Its.
I'm sad because I realized you can hear it on the podcast, so I put them down.
Can't eat the cheese.
Can't eat the Cheez-Its.
It's over.
Damn.
Yeah, what we've learned, though, mostly from 90s films, is that when a dog catcher catches a dog, they go to the pound.
I know. That's what I'm hoping
Hate
he's
that.
not turning to the dark side.
Seems that Ryan has turned to the canine dark side.
Jesus.
The bark side, one might say.
Oh my god.
Wow. Okay.
Oh my god, we're already there. Okay.
Okay.
I just have no words for that.
All right. So, I want to talk to you guys about Stranger Things. Stranger Things 2 and 3. Because if there's one thing that Amy and I love more than people, it's TV.
And cats.
It's Steven.
Yeah, we love TV and cats more than most people should probably. But one of our favorite shows to binge is Stranger Things, and season 2 just dropped
So good.
I'd say about a month ago now at this point. And we blazed through it, and we're already starting to think about season 3 and
Yeah.
what might happen.
So this episode of the podcast, obviously, spoilers if you haven't watched
Right.
it. So, yeah,
Yeah,
tread lightly.
Tread lightly, because if you haven't watched Stranger Things and are instead listening to a podcast about Stranger Things, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I
Right, go watch
also,
it.
Why haven't you watched it? Like, do
Yeah.
you not want to be hip and cool?
I feel like it's late enough, you know?
I do too. And plus, we gave fair warning. So we'll just jump into the part where all the characters die. Right?
Oh shit!
No, actually, you know what? To jump right into this, the meat of it, the biggest critique I've seen of this season, and I disagree, is that the stakes were so low because only new characters died.
Yeah, I mean, did you expect more deaths? I don't know if I expected any of the main characters to die.
I'd be legitimately upset.
Imagine
Me
if
too.
one of the kids died.
Right.
Like, that'd
Yeah.
be fucked up.
You know
Or
what?
even one of the adults.
Yeah, true.
There was one moment where I thought that Dustin might die.
Oh my god.
And then there was a different moment where I was next to sure that
Hopper.
Mommy Steve was done.
Mommy Steve? Oh, Steve in general.
Steve.
Oh, all the memes?
Yeah.
Okay, all
Steve
the
is
memes.
Supermom.
No, but yeah, Hopper too. Dustin, Steve, and Hopper.
I
were
did
the
think
few
Hopper.
I was
Which,
scared
by
about.
the way, favorite character is Hopper for me.
Same girl.
Yeah?
I love him.
Yeah. A lot of people are obsessed with Steve right now, but like, I mean, like, I get it, his like character development, but he didn't become like a fave for me. Some people are like
To me,
obsessed
he's a
with him.
fave too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a fave for me.
I just
Yeah.
Jim Hopper is the fave. To
Hopper
Me.
Right.
is totally the fave.
I mean, they paired just to get a little bit into some writer motivation here. They took the two fan favorite characters, 11 and Hopper, who had not much to do together last season, and they paired them together very nicely.
It was
that was genius.
incredible.
yeah.
That was my favorite part, was them together, honestly. Like, I didn't even care that it was a downtime in a way, like
Right.
seeing them alone in the house. It was the strongest part.
Absolutely. The moment where Hopper dances for her.
Oh my
he
god, the
does a
dance.
little, like, hip
Pat, that's
wiggle.
like one of
It
your
brings me to
dances.
tears.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
So good. And what I wanted to talk about 11 and Hopper is the fact that I love how character based Stranger Things is because we never really find out exactly what happened to 11 when she vanquished the Demogorgon last season. She does go back into the Upside Down, but she literally comes right back out.
Right.
I know.
Like,
Isn't that
right back.
crazy?
And how did, spoilers again, but how did Hopper know that she was gonna, maybe I missed something, but remember when she found the Eggos in that box?
Yes.
I
How
think
did
he was
Hopper know
just-
she was gonna go there?
He was just wishful.
And how
I
did she
think.
know to go there?
I mean, my interpretation was that he was looking for her, right?
Yeah.
Because when the kind of like mysterious cliffhanger from the previous season was that Hopper kind of sold her out, right? He told, I forgot the name of the organization.
Ooh.
Well, he told the creepy government...
Hawkins Inc., isn't it?
Hawkins, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
it's just-
that's the town,
that's
so
the
yeah, it's just the
town.
town's name,
It's
right?
called Hawkins, like, Biology
Okay,
Lab
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So
True.
he
Incorporation.
he tells them where the boys have 11, right? And then they go there, and he then seems to understand what happens when she faces the Demogorgon, because she is literally fine, right? She's fine moments later. She is in one beat, near death, blood streaming from her nose. She knows, she tells Mike goodbye, right? Like she says goodbye. She thinks that she's going to die, and then she just comes back. So she seems, I think that establishes that she has an immense power over the Upside Down and its creatures, which is then paid off later this season.
Because
Yeah.
she's the one that opened it in the first place, sort of.
Right.
Well, when she comes back out was because they were already... Well, she was in the school, so she
Right.
went through the chalkboard or whatever, went into the Upside Down, and then other people were like the walls were open almost at this
Yes.
point in the school, so that's how she got out so easily.
Yes.
Into
But
that
like
hallway, right?
yeah, just like right out into the school hallway, and then she just like walks out the doors. But it's just because it was like the door was open in a way. But when the Eggo thing that you were saying, I think that might have been well, she escaped the lab in the first season. Well, like looking back now, when
Right.
she escaped the lab, I think was through tunnels, like into the woods or something. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why Hopper figured
Knows
if I
that.
leave these Eggos somewhere in the woods, she'll find it.
Right. And he knew the exact place to go. It was like he was leaving bait for her.
Yeah.
Right,
Because
that's what I thought, so
Yeah.
I was wondering how and why.
what I would think is that, one, the why, I think that he feels bad about his role in her situation right now. Because he says later on in the series that he feels like a black hole and that he attracts all this negative attention, and
Right.
everyone he cares for, bad things happen to. And in the case of 11, something bad happened to her before he even cared about her because of him, you know?
Yeah. I know they allude to the fact that he lost his daughter
Yeah.
a lot, but I don't even really think that's the full reason he cares for 11. I think he just does. Like,
Well,
it's
he
not
does.
just, it's not just like, oh, because I lost a daughter, so
Oh,
I'm
no,
going to
yeah.
take care of you.
It does
He
have a big
legitimately
part in it,
cares.
though, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like she filled that gap because
sure.
she is a young girl. So it's like, even if he doesn't want it to, and he wants her to be separate as much as she is different, he has, like, it's like when his daughter died, it was like this hole. And no matter what, like, adult friends you have, it doesn't fill it, and it makes that connection no matter what, because he met this young girl, and for whatever reason, she fell into his responsibility. So that plus that, it's like a huge part of it.
Right.
Along with, like, I love that she is so powerful and scary, but he won't, like, he'll still yell at her.
I know.
And
he wouldn't
to
back
me, that's
down.
so, like, it's such a line of, like, ooh, she could kill him.
Oh, yeah.
And he
that
knows,
argument, right?
yeah, and he
Yeah.
knows that she won't. And so he's mad at her for, throwing a table or whatever, like, but the fact that she can is just insane.
It's so cool.
Like, she could snap his neck or whatever.
Yeah.
She could, but yeah, what Amy said, he's never scared. That argument where she first uses her powers to hit him with something,
He's pissed.
it's almost as if he scolds her rather than being terrified, you know?
Like, don't do that.
Right.
And he in that moment was when she said, "You're just like Papa," and it came as like such an insult to him.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, it's also in turn, that is how she's seeing him, because, okay, he has her trapped in this house, so he's confining her, but she cares about him. And she did care about Papa,
Yes.
her dad, because it's like, that's all she had. She didn't even know she had a mom in the first season.
Yeah.
So even though Papa was doing all those experimentations on her and everything, she still would listen to him, and whatever he wanted her to do, she would pretty much do until she started to rebel a bit. But
Right.
like, yeah, so.
Now, speaking of Papa, right? Because I do want to get back to Hopper, but just a bit about Papa. There's a part of episode 8 that alludes to Papa still being alive. What do we think about that?
I had to look back at season 1 to see how Papa died, because I was like, why is this being brought up? He's totally dead. But when you look back, the scene is just one of the Demogorgons jumping on him, and
Right.
that's it.
That's
We
it.
don't
And it
know.
cuts.
Yeah, we don't know if somebody started shooting or if he himself had some type of weapon on him or anything.
Or
so,
control over it, because
Ooh,
he
control.
is like, after all, he's in charge of the whole thing.
Right.
That'd be super cool.
Imagine, because he had maybe some control over 11 too. So since she's like connected to that and them,
Yes.
maybe he like said some sort of magic fucking word. I don't know.
That would be wild.
Because we at this point we just don't know, right?
right.
Yeah.
Because
I totally think he's alive.
I think
I'd
so
say.
too. I think so too. And what I'd say is that it's a cool twist, because it's one that, from the way season 1 was framed, I would have never imagined he'd be alive. But now that the idea is introduced, looking back, like you said, makes total sense.
For sure, right? And like,
yeah.
I love how, what was the new girl's name?
I was just gonna say,
Oh.
can we talk about number 8?
Yeah,
Oh,
number
that
8,
8.
yes.
episode.
Yes, 8.
What was number 8's name?
It was like,
I'm trying to find it now.
I don't want to guess because I'll be wrong.
I know, right?
I mean, didn't we just call her 8?
No, because her friends called her something else.
Oh, right.
When she showed the picture, they're like, that.
I'm going to look it up
that's-
right
yeah,
now.
look it up, because I can't find it right now. But when number 8 was telling her, well, pretty much in her head, saying, like, you're seeing your Papa in front of you, like, that was so freaky for 11 to see and everything. And 11 admitted that, like, she didn't go looking for Papa. And she
Right.
could have, but she didn't, because she didn't want Papa to be alive, and she doesn't want to face it, or she doesn't want to find out he's dead. Who knows? She's back and forth with what she wants to know.
Because she like weirdly loves him, like it's like an abusive child
Yes,
situation.
yeah, that total abusive relationship thing.
It's
going
not
on.
like it
It
is
is.
an abusive child situation. I mean, but yeah, it's really sad actually, because she does, like, when she saw him at the end of season 1 and stuff, and when like you could see that like twinge in her eyes of like, oh my gosh, you know, like kind of like she missed him in a way, which is really weird.
Kali?
Kali,
Kali?
Yeah.
Kali.
I think so.
Kali, really?
But, yeah,
that's
but
how it's spelled. Okay.
But I
Primarily-
remember she had the 8 tattooed on her,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
how you knew she was
Right.
one of like
Yeah.
11.
Because, I mean, I feel unprepared now that we're saying her name. But I've only ever thought of her since as 8.
Yeah,
right?
true.
Because we haven't called 11 her real name, really, you know?
Yeah, right.
Jane.
Jane, yeah.
Yeah.
But
There's so much to talk about.
I know, that was so great too. Her mother.
there's so much, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think, though, all right, so let's get into the little debate here. Episode 7, The Lost Sister, which is the episode where 11 goes to Chicago and meets 8, right?
and her gang.
And her gang. A lot of people, I'd say the base reaction to this episode is that it doesn't fit with the rest of the season or the show, and that it is the worst episode of Stranger Things ever. I think that is crazy. I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
I
I had mixed
I enjoyed
feelings.
it too.
yeah.
I didn't
Talk about
hate
it.
it,
Yeah.
but like I completely immediately saw it as a strategy to branch off into season 3, pretty much.
Yes.
To
okay.
me,
But I
yeah,
like that.
to me it didn't line up with what was going on, but they had to do it because they're like, all right, we're gonna keep this going, and they had to introduce some more new people and like a different storyline for it to go to. Because how much longer can you just be like, we're in Hawkins and the Demogorgons won't stop? So it's like they needed some other story going on. So it made sense.
That is one thing I
strategically.
definitely want to touch on too in 1 second. The season 3 connection to that episode. But my question is this though: what I felt about this episode in context of this season is that while it didn't affect most of the other characters, I think 11 needed this episode herself.
Yeah.
Because I feel that she ran away, of course, right? She was on this. She totally diverged from her path, right? And she, at the end of this episode, returns to her path. She returns to Hawkins, and she returns to that cast of characters, but she has changed. She's more in charge of herself, more in control of her powers.
Which I enjoyed, she kept that look.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
The Tegan and Sara look.
the Tegan and Sara look, yeah.
So that adds on to what you're saying as far as like she kept some things, which is like the confidence that she built when she was with those people and that they gave her basically to come back and like, here I am, here to help basically instead of always a little lost. It's like in season 1, she was always like, she would help at the last minute,
Right.
but she was always a little bit timid.
Yes.
Whereas like when she came back, she had the jacket and the cool hair and like
Totally in charge.
right.
And totally
Yeah.
bitching.
Totally bitching, yes. In her love you to death era Tegan and Sara garb.
Hell yeah.
And what I liked too is that in season 1, she was the way that she used her powers was very internal. She was secretive. Like there was that one scene where she, Lucas, Dustin, and Mike are out looking for Will, right? And she is making their copies get fucked up.
Oh yeah.
And Lucas knows and accuses her, and Mike is like, there's no way. But totally she was. Now, she would never do that. She has come into her power. She's using it for what she wants and for the greater good. And I think that her arc in this season was just fucking awesome.
Well, that's why they did need that episode, because who is going to teach her or tell her to hone in on her skill besides someone else with a skill like that? It's not like one of the kids
to be ashamed of.
Yeah, one of the other kids isn't going to tell her how to like learn how to control her powers.
Right.
So Callie was definitely important.
And I agree with you. I wanted to get into this season 3 talk, the Stranger Things 3 talk, because, all right, so season 2 ends with the Mind Flayer looming over the school in the Upside Down. To me, just as a writer, the way that I would do it is I would show that image but save the final Upside Down story for season 4. Because what we hear is that season 4 will be the end of the series.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't heard that yet.
It's not 100% confirmed, but in their interview this summer, the Duffers, the creators, have said that they currently can see themselves doing 2 more seasons and then out.
Yeah, because it's like, how much longer can you keep it going? A lot of people have said, oh, if they keep introducing more numbers, like number 7, number this, it's going to turn into the X-Men people have been making jokes about. So it's like,
Yes. And here's where I am, too. I love this show. I could watch season upon season. When Netflix renewed Orange is the New Black for, I think, 3 more seasons in a row, I was like, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
Stranger Things, though, I feel like sometimes supernatural shows tend to go a little bit too long. I mean, Supernatural is going a bit too long. But the thing is, they own it in that now, when they do the Monster of the Week episodes for Supernatural, they do the craziest, most off-the-wall creative shit ever. But Stranger Things is not that kind of show. Like, they don't have Monster of the Week episodes. So every season kind of builds on the previous one. And I think that the way to handle season 3 that wouldn't feel repetitive of season 1 and 2 is to not so much focus on the Upside Down, but have 8 and her crew come and be maybe either anti-heroes or maybe even the villains for next season. Because their role in society, even though they aren't evil characters, is, I mean, just picture them interacting with Hopper. Like, they'd be enemies, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd be very intrigued to see them come to Hawkins and to see how that would work out.
That would be fun.
That's interesting to think, like, how are they going to meet up again? Because I mean, number 8 doesn't have the powers to know where 11 is, unless 11 already told her, in private times.
Right.
But I don't know, would 11 go looking for number 8 again?
I mean,
I don't
8
know.
knows where the lab was, right?
Okay,
So
that's
she can
true.
just go there,
You're
right?
It's not
Yeah.
far.
You're right.
So there's a path. I think that we're not going to so much see 11 going to 8, but this time we'll see 8 going to 11.
Yeah.
Because the only way to make those characters work in the larger context is because I don't mind having 11 leave for that one episode. But next season, if those are going to be main players, they have to interact with the rest of the cast.
You're right.
So I think that if they end up coming to Hawkins, that's how it's going to go down.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, the gang, I don't like any of them. I mean,
my God,
maybe
the supporting characters.
Yeah,
right?
the big guy that she said was like a teddy bear. I don't know what his name was, but like him, I could see kind of being cool because he looked up to number 8 and was saying like number 8 saved me and everything. The
Him
other,
I like,
That was an interesting bit that he did there. I like that when he was talking about her.
Yes.
yeah.
He
The others
was
were
one
a
of the
little
only
more.
ones that got fleshed out, right?
Pretty much.
Was he? Yeah, he kind of was. The guy with the mohawk is a dick.
But Roger Klotz, pretty much, is who I call
Yeah,
him.
oh my God.
He was just like fucking Roger Klotz from Doug.
Yeah, and then the other girl was kind of like, I don't know, ditzy. She's like twirling her hair, popping her gum.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's I mean, what I think the next step is, if those characters, if 8 isn't going to come alone, if she comes with her crew, they have to flesh those characters out. And they'll have a season to do so, right? I mean, like we take Steve for example. Everyone's on the Steve is the best train now, but Steve made his turn in season 1. Mm-hmm. Like Steve was introduced as like the dick boyfriend, and that was the character he played until he grew in that season, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that if these characters come back, and I'm thinking that they are going to come back, that they'll have that same kind of arc. We'll get to know them deeper.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now we have Billy, so.
Oh my God, Billy.
New dick boyfriend in town.
Exactly.
Oh my God. He's. Amy said before we started recording that he looks
so sweaty.
So sweaty. He looks like a sweaty lion.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
I mean,
I
the
loved
only thing with him is that I want him to get with the mom.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that fucking scene.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for him because of his like situation with his dad, but it cracked me up in the very beginning, like the first time he's introduced, when all the girls like are leaning against the car with
Looking
their
at
like
his
big
tushy
poofy hair and their
Oh,
like
yeah.
high-waisted jeans, and
Look
they're
at
like,
his
"Oh my
ass."
God, look at his butt," and it's like in these tight Levi's, and
Ugh.
it's like so funny. It reminds me of probably how my dad dressed when he was younger.
You know what? His face is kind of your dad-esque. He has those dark eyebrows, the light hair.
That's true. I mean, he doesn't look like my dad. He didn't have that style, but
No, your dad's
my
definitely
dad
not
was more
a greaseball.
attractive
Yeah.
than that. You know, he wasn't greasy.
No.
You know.
No, Billy
Or
is
a
next
total
level greasy.
Zack. As Pat would say.
Well, like,
Billy is a
As
total
only Pat
Zack.
would say.
The part with Billy's dad being nasty to him and stuff, that was not even fully fleshed out for me. It was like such a bits and pieces.
There's more
like,
of it to come.
thing.
Oh,
for
I think
sure.
so, too.
I mean, why the hell is Max's mom even with this asshole? Like,
I mean, well, that's a bigger question. though,
Yeah.
you know, 'cause
Right.
I mean, there are so many people with
With
so
guys
many
like that.
unrepentant assholes, you know?
I know, but to see Max's mom just like standing there, like watching, is just like that's next level disturbing.
The casting in this show is incredible. Like, just thinking about how Max looks like her mom,
Yeah.
and thinking about how all the kids and their parents and their sisters all look so alike. It's crazy to me.
Well, now
Anyways,
that you
side note.
said you said
Mike and Nancy,
sisters.
Oh
definitely.
my God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
their
yeah, for
parents,
sure.
mhm.
Oh my God.
I love all of the little kids. Like everyone's,
Same.
yeah,
They're also
everyone's little
talented
sister.
too. And
So
Amazing.
good.
Well, usually
Yeah.
little kids are shown as like annoying or this or that, but a lot of the little girls, they're just like sassy and smart. Like
Yeah,
they
Lucas's
talk
sister.
back.
Lucas's sister.
Yeah, Lucas's sister's
She's like,
amazing.
"Shut up."
when she mouths nerd to him.
Oh my
it's so
god.
good.
Oh, by
beautiful.
the way.
Oh my god, I know what you're gonna say right now.
Gotta talk about it. Okay,
He
so
died.
this moment, it's such a small moment.
It's amazing.
And I just want to pay tribute to the small moments, you know? I've never laughed so much at a TV show as this one small beat is when in the first episode of the season, when they go to school and realize that no one else is
Was
wearing
that the first
costumes.
Hell yeah.
First episode. Or second one.
It was early.
Yeah, it was early. No one else is wearing costumes. They're the fucking Ghostbusters. And as they're walking down the hall, fucking shell-shocked, you hear someone unseen off the screen go, "Who are you gonna call? The nerds!"
I love it. He when Dustin gets off his bike and he goes, guys. Why isn't anyone else dressed up?
Yeah, they build up the scene to be like
So
something
good.
really bad, but it's just like we're too nerdy. Like,
I for a moment there I couldn't breathe.
oh my
He
god,
was
that's
laughing
great.
so hard on the
So
couch.
good.
But it's so realistic too.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
Pat
that's
and his
happened to
friends.
so many people. It happened to
yeah.
Amy. She went to Starbucks on Halloween
Oh my
dressed up, and no one
God.
else
That
dressed
did
up.
happen to you.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Nerd. What a nerd. I'm a total nerd.
Wait.
Little black cat at Starbucks. Everyone else is like fucking loser.
So it was one black cat and 10 fucking baristas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my wife. Definitely.
I will always dress up
Hell
for
yeah.
any reason.
Man. Yeah, so that's the scene where they meet Mad Max.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I loved her.
I thought she was great too.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff about how Stranger Things 2 introduced new characters and didn't do anything with them. I thought that Max had a great role.
Yeah.
I liked her a lot. She was she had a little arc with everybody.
Yeah.
With every single
She
supporting
did.
character that was around her,
Yeah,
she had a little
total
arc.
interactions with everybody.
And I thought that the way that they handled the Max and Billy situation, maybe I expected a bit more resolution there and more information, but
Same.
I think that they're building for more next season. you
Yeah.
know?
But that last interaction, her being like almost stabbing him in the crotch with a baseball
my
That was
bat.
nice.
And then that's it. Like you didn't the next day at school or something, you just see Billy like look at her and then like walk away or something. But that was just no
I
conclusion.
remember what happened was she threatened him like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was like, apparently he was scared of her because I think what you're referring to is she was getting ready for the dance.
Okay.
And her mom was helping her get ready, and
Okay.
he walked past the doorway.
Yeah, I think
and
that
she
was
like
it.
looked at him like, "Don't even think about fucking ruining my night or making fun of me," sort
Yeah.
of thing. She just looked back at him like, "I'm the boss," and he just like stopped in the doorway like he was gonna make fun of her or something, and then
Oh,
he just
boy.
turned and then he just kept walking
Yeah.
down the hallway. And that's when you just like made note to yourself like, "Oh, he's still scared of her. He doesn't fuck with her now."
Because what is he thinking about what she does? You know, he's
Right.
like, she's hanging out with fucking Steve, these crazy little kids.
That scene, I know it's like Steve has kids in the house, and then he goes in the house and he gets drugged like a needle into
Oh
his
That
neck.
was so
He's
funny
probably like,
when-
what kinky shit's happening here?
So-
when Billy confronts Steve,
Oh
to
my
me
God.
it was funny because like it was like Billy thought he was the total good guy,
Yes.
right? And he's over here like, whoa, you know, to Steve, and Steve's like, you don't even have a clue.
No
Yeah.
clue.
Also, the worst time for Steve to get beat up. He's supposed to be protecting these kids and watching them, and now he's like
Oh my
physically
God.
useless.
Hilarious
Practically.
how he's like bloody faced in the back of the car, like, no,
God.
no, you guys need to stop. And they're like, yeah, right, Steve, yeah.
Also, none of those kids jumped on Billy's back to try and stop him, which
I
upset
know,
me.
I saw that.
It was
I'm
like,
they're just
gang up.
watching.
I mean, they
I
were
mean,
slide right
they were
off.
scared. Yeah,
He
they
just slicked with grease.
True, sweaty boy.
slide off of the grease.
So, all right. What I want to talk about too, kind of spins out of this whole Billy shit, is Stranger Things, I feel, has the most realistic depiction of people reacting to supernatural stuff. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The moment where Bob Newby,
I also love him.
Bob Newby is
He's
my favorite new
amazing.
character. He was amazing.
R.I.P. bro.
He's a superhero.
He really is.
So the moment when Bob is so confused about what Joyce is doing with
The map.
Pictures,
map.
amazing. He
And
walks
then-
in the house like, what the fuck?
and then he so quickly goes from what is this to, oh, it's a puzzle. I know how to do this shit. You know?
Right.
And then when he realizes what's happening, when they go there and Hopper's there, that moment, right? Where he and Hopper had that little interaction.
He realizes that this whole trek and this whole mission and the whole puzzle was about finding Hopper, and like he saved Hopper's life basically.
Yes.
And then you see in Bob's face, there's a moment when he realizes when Joyce and Hopper are like embracing each other, like she's so glad that he's alive. And he thinks like, oh wow, this is about Jim. Like, wow, they have like something sort of special, is what he realizes.
Yes.
But he doesn't even care, because he's like, so much fucking crazy shit has happened in the last
So
few
much.
hours. And they have this moment where Jim just goes, hey Bob. And Bob goes, he takes a deep breath and he goes, hey Jim. And it's just amazing.
Well,
So
and his respect for Joyce to just kind of go with the flow. I mean, he
Right.
made the jokes at first, like, what's going on here? But, like, he does know that traumatic stuff happened to her in the past. He didn't know the gist of it fully, but he was like, let me just help however I
He just
can.
wants to help.
Yeah.
And as soon as he knows
really nice
the
guy.
depth of what's going on, he is just totally on board.
Yeah, he wasn't really scared. He was scared, but superhero.
I feel
you
like
said.
his death was so sad, but before it happened, I was thinking, like, Joyce and Hopper are meant to be together, and how is this gonna happen? Like, how are they gonna break up? It's like the only way, you know, it could go two ways. Like, he passes away, or he's so understanding, but it wouldn't be like as big of a thing. You know what I mean?
He's just
Now Joyce is completely innocent still.
he's just so pure and flawless.
Yeah, well, Joyce needed something after season 1. Everyone in town thought she was out of her mind.
Yes.
So to have this one character still be like, I had a crush on you in high school, and like, I can't believe I got to be with Joyce Myers now and everything, and like
So
accept her as normal. Like, she needed that. But
It
now
was
here
so
she is
cute
fucked
in the
up
beginning
again.
to see her at her job when you first meet
Oh,
him.
yeah.
And he comes into her job pretending to be a customer. That was so sweet.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you see them in the closet all hot and heavy.
So good.
Right?
And I love because so often when you have a character that has been in love with someone since high school, right? It's portrayed as kind of weird and freaky. But I don't feel that Bob was I don't think he's carried a torch for her. I think that he had a crush on her in high school, and then when they met, he plays with the irony of, you know, I had a crush on you in high school, and it's just
Right.
it's cute. It's so pure. Pure is the word, I think, for Bob Newby.
Yeah, like he was
Nice.
otherwise a stranger, you know.
Yes.
We didn't know he existed
Right.
before this, and he never came up in her life before this, so it's
Stranger
not like
Things.
right.
Well, and what about when he gives Will that advice and everything in the car, like to
Oh,
stand up?
he
for-
fucked up.
Yeah, he fucked up.
he
But
really
once
fucked up.
again, so pure.
Right,
Like,
he's just trying
I'm
to
gonna
help
teach him
like,
Oh my
a
God, yeah.
lesson.
because he has
and,
no
like,
idea the extent
No idea.
of
Yeah.
what this little boy's talking about. He's
Exactly.
just like, you know what? If there's a bully, stand up to him. And it's like, no.
No,
This is not just a bully.
Not this time, man. Yeah.
Well, and what do you guys think about Will? Because I think for season 3, they got to give this kid a break.
Oh yeah,
Dude, that's exactly what Pat
we said the
Yeah,
same shit. Yeah, Will
Gotta give this kid a break.
Will is gonna have to have a peaceful season.
Yeah,
Right.
he
Like
needs it.
what I would love to see
And
is
don't ignore him, but
no.
he can't be throwing up slugs anymore.
No,
you know?
no. The
I
slug
think,
shit is
yeah,
done.
he should become more of a key character.
He needs to help this next season.
Because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they've said how, well, he's incredibly important in both seasons,
Yes.
but he doesn't get to interact with like any of the characters half
just-
the time. So
Right.
it's like, I think finally, since all of this knowledge and experience he has with dealing with the upside down, maybe the 3rd season he can bring something to the table and actually like help people instead of being
Totally.
evil.
Yeah, like be one of the fighters
Yes,
for
that'd be amazing.
because he was the damsel in season 1, and then in season 2 he was kind of the villain. You know.
Yeah.
because he was like, in a way, he was like possessed when he was connected. And he was, people sometimes were scared of him, like rightfully so, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, they
And
didn't
so-
know to trust him. Oh, when
Kind of remind me of like an exorcist.
when they
sort of thing.
realize he's like the spy, even that dawning on them was like gut wrenching. Like,
Yes.
Right, because
they-
it's a bummer.
oh, it was such a bummer. But that part when he's being it's past the interrogation. It's when they're trying to burn it out of him.
Oh my God.
And Joyce turns up all of the heaters. Oh my
I was
God, it
like,
was so
go girl.
badass.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Her son
She's such a
Jonathan is
great
like
mom.
crying. She's like, no.
She's like, I will not have my son die over
Yeah.
this. Like, get the hell out.
So good.
Amazing.
She's the best mom. I also love, and it like almost brings me to tears. She finds out those kids are bullying her, Will, immediately. When
Gets
Bob
right in
tells
the
her,
car.
she's like, who are them? Tell me their names. I will kill them.
She-
I
oh,
will
yes.
kill them.
And she
I'm
watches the
just like,
videotape back. Like, I gotta
she
see
does
them.
like a frickin', she goes Veronica Mars on this
Oh
bitch.
my
And
God.
she
So good.
goes in her car, and you see her going to school, and she's all pissed off. And it just, Will's mom reminds me so much of Pat's mom.
Really?
Me
Yes.
too. Me too.
The way she acts, the way she worries,
Aw.
the way she like loves her kid. It's so cool to see because she even looks a little like Pat's mom, like very
Aw.
like petite and like the brown hair and stuff, and just like so cute to see. Very fierce little woman, you know.
And that is actually a great thing about the show to me, is that so many shows where kids are the focus, the parents are just paper thin characters. But in Stranger Things, the parents and the adult characters are as fleshed out as the kids, as anyone.
Yeah, with Jim and his backstory too.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. So
Real quick though,
Yeah.
about Joyce, I just realized while you guys were talking that she's so overprotective over Will, but you don't see her be like that with Jonathan. And now I'm wondering, is it because when her and the husband split might have been more when Will was growing up than Jonathan?
That's probably
I don't
true,
know,
yeah.
like the timeline of when that dad left.
Right.
But Jonathan went and visited the dad the first season.
Yes.
So this time, like, I don't know, maybe that's why she's more babying Will. Like, I know he's younger, but maybe he had a harder time without that dad around than Jonathan did.
I think he did, yeah. And
Also, I think too the series started like around the time of his disappearance. So
Right.
now, of course, he's probably more in focus
Yeah.
from the beginning of the series just until now, and we didn't see before.
Yeah,
he
what
was
their life
abducted
was
or
like.
whatever,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
their life
Right.
was like now, because Jonathan, since he is older, he's a teenager, you know, he goes out with his friends and things like that, and it's a little bit different now, you know, like
yes, because Will is the youngest one, and the one where that things always happen to, and it makes me think of when Amy and I were we were driving across the country to move from California to New York, and we had our cats with us in the car in their carriers, and when we stopped, we went to check on them, and Neil had peed in the
if you
carrier.
could see him now.
If you could see him now, yeah. Neil, our big fat white cat, peed in the carrier, which had some litter in it, and he sat in it, so the litter crusted to his butt.
No.
And Amy just held him and wept and said, "Why always Neil?"
I felt like bad
Neil's
things,
the Will.
because before we left,
Neil is the
he
Will.
actually did have a bad sickness.
Yes.
And then I felt like everything that could go wrong would happen to him.
Right.
Aw, poor
And I
Neely.
was sad about it. I was scared.
So Neil's the Will.
Yeah.
He is the Will.
I want to talk about Hopper a bit more.
First of all, remember, when we spent, we were in the car and we related every single one of our cats to different Stranger Things characters.
Oh yes.
Oh,
yes.
you guys did this at that
We
time?
did. And maybe we'll revisit that for season 3 as we
Yes.
talk more about
Yeah.
the cats too, and you guys get to know their various personalities. About Hopper though, I want to talk about how caring he is for such a tough character, because that is also something that you don't see very often. And of course, there's the scenes that he has with Eleven. There's the conversation they have in the car where he takes fault for their argument. That was beautiful. But to me, the moment that really shows me how great of a character he is the moment where Mike freaks out on him when Eleven comes back, and he's blaming him. Hopper just takes him away, and as Mike is screaming, he just holds him.
And Mike starts crying.
So good.
That was so sad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was so good.
It was interesting that big of an explosion happened in that moment. They have so much to worry about. And
Yeah.
11 just walked in the door, but he needed
It's
to
'cause he's a
take
young
him
boy
away,
and
yeah,
that.
and handle it.
I mean, I understand Mike's position there and Hopper's. And that's what makes a show so good to me. A story is when two characters are at odds, but you can see the empathy and the reason behind each one's decisions.
Exactly.
And that's so good to
Well,
me.
like
Totally.
he couldn't have let them talk though, like the phone
no.
lines are tapped. People would follow them walking into the woods to the cabin or something. Like there was no way. He really thought he was doing the best thing he could.
Right.
It's crazy. What about the conspiracy theorist guy whose name was Murray Bauman? It
Oh,
looks like
the crazy guy from Love.
He was on
that's
the
what
show
he's
Love.
from.
Yes,
Really?
He played the radio show host,
Okay.
who is Mickey's boss, who's
Oh,
like
yeah.
creepily has a crush on her.
Huh.
If he were a real character, he'd be trending on Twitter right now.
Oh
Yep.
my god.
All right, so
Because people think that him and Hopper might team up in a weird like good cop bad cop way in like season 3 because they
my
both
God.
know
I haven't seen that yet, no.
they both know what's going on.
Right.
And I mean Hopper's kept that a secret from everyone else in the office of the police station and everything.
Yeah, nobody knows what he's up to because
Yeah,
in the end
and
of
who
season
would
1, he
believe
left
him?
and came right back.
Exactly. But this conspiracy guy, he's like, I fucking believe you.
Especially because he's been told.
Which was
Jonathan
the coolest
and
scene
Nancy.
when they go in and they're like, you have all this wrong.
Yeah, they're like, this little arrow and this
Yeah.
one, no.
So good.
that was fun.
I think that
Totally.
they would kind of be cool to interact though, like Hopper and him, because I mean, Murray is more,
Crazy.
crazy, and like
He's over the top.
we got
yeah.
to see how like kind of confident he was, like
Right.
him like dissecting Nancy and Jonathan.
weird.
Yeah.
Like he just speaks his mind, where like Hopper would probably be like, "Shut the fuck up! Like I can't stand you."
You know who he's
Yeah.
like? You
Who?
know who he's fucking like? And this is the craziest comparison. He's like Spike from Buffy. Do you-
Oh my god.
Watch.
Okay, explain.
Do you remember how when Buffy and Angel were dating, Spike would be the one who would see them and he'd be like, no. This is what you're feeling right now.
Yeah.
That episode where they were just like not pretending, they were trying to be just friends. And Spike is like, you're not just friends.
Yeah.
You know, love burns or something
Yeah,
he said.
yeah.
I feel like I got that vibe when Murray reacted to Jonathan and Nancy being just friends. He's
I
like,
like
no,
that.
when I go to bed, you guys are gonna be fucking.
Yeah.
You know? But
Do you
Also-
think Nancy should be with Jonathan
Oh,
or Steve?
this one's tough too. Well, a lot of people were upset that her and Steve like called it quits this time, but I
Right.
kind of expected it in a way because
Yeah.
she liked Steve because Steve was popular when they
Right.
first started dating, but Jonathan always got her in a different way, and she had a
Yes.
crush on him this whole time.
And they're such
secretly.
great friends. It's
Yeah.
so rare.
And
like
they-
their
yeah.
friendship.
they're close friends, and they've gone through trauma together.
Yeah.
And they understand both that and one another more than other people might. But yeah, no, they have a friendship that she and Steve never had.
I think they should all three be together.
Aw.
Oh, a little poly action.
I'm just kidding because I just don't want to make a decision.
I know. I
Well,
know.
here's where I am. I like Jonathan, but let's be real. It's all about Steve. Like,
Ooh, you're on the train, bro.
yeah, well, you know what? I'm not even sure if Nancy deserves Steve though. Maybe Jonathan and Nancy belong together.
Yeah.
And
Like
Steve
Mariah Carey says.
and Steve could just be like a lone wolf, you know, saving kids and loving who he comes across. You know,
Kids.
a Rolling Stone
Yeah.
of love and babysitting.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, he would be a great nanny.
Oh yeah, I mean he is a good
He
guy.
is. Yes.
When he dropped off Dustin at the dance,
That was so
So
cute.
cute.
the cutest, the best.
Oh, speaking of the cutest, when Nancy found Dustin alone
Oh my
and sad
God.
because no one would dance with him with his frickin' gelled hair,
Literally crying, he was.
crying on the bench,
And then so was I.
and yep, crying on the couch. I was. But Nancy saw him from across the auditorium or whatever and walked over and started dancing with him and like complimenting him, just being just a nice friend to him, just a nice older sister of a friend, the nice hot older sister, giving him points with the strangers. And, you know, I thought that was so sweet.
And all the girls were just watching like, what?
Exactly. I thought when he walked in with the new hairstyle, it was going to be the turning point of people being like, look at Dustin, but it didn't work. But now that she danced with him, I'm hoping in season 3, some people might talk to Dustin.
I want someone to have a crush on him so bad.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
He's such a cutie, and he's so nice, you know, like...
Although, I mean, he
smack.
fucked up with, you know...
Oh, with Dart?
Yeah, with Dart.
But
Yes.
you know what? I relate to him with that.
Yeah.
Especially
I knew you would,
because I grew up owning, like, reptiles, spiders, and everyone was like, ew, what the fuck? And I was like, that's my friend. And so I totally relate to that. And, yeah, I just feel like there's someone out there for Dustin. You know?
I think so, too.
Mm-hmm.
He's the greatest.
I kind of am forcing myself to forget the cat scene.
Oh my God,
I turned away.
Yeah.
I
Dart
did turn away.
devours the cat on camera for like literally 25 minutes.
It was like 25 seconds.
That's what it
that
felt
felt
like.
like 25 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like in some reality, I'm still watching that scene.
Well, and then you're the mom who he's like,
Oh, yeah.
Mom, go out and find the cat.
I'm
And you're
so
like, I
mom.
will.
Yeah. But it was cute in the end when the cow's name used and then she got twos.
Oh, yeah. So
And it
I
was a
cute.
didn't
little
even
kitten.
notice
Yeah.
that,
It
actually.
looked
Really
like
cute.
baby Neil
Really
Incredible.
cute.
with the blue eyes. It was a Siamese, I think.
I thought that the moment where Dart spares them was so beautiful.
That
too.
was nice.
And I was waiting to see if anything like that was going to
A payoff,
happen
yeah.
because he made a
'Cause why?
connection.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, and it proves, I mean,
It proves that they
aren't pure
they
evil.
have feelings
Yes.
and like,
that they can make a bond.
yes.
Yes.
With
which is
especially with a
interesting.
human, which is really interesting.
Ooh, plot twist. Maybe 11 can somehow make a bond with them instead of the shadow monster. So then 11 can control them.
Plot twist. What if there was a bond in between the one that attacked Papa and him?
Whoa, deep.
I think because
He's like, homie, it's me. It's
Yeah,
the one that
right.
raised you in the test tube.
Oh my god.
I like these ideas. I like the idea. No, I do. I like the idea
You sound
of
like my professor.
of more of a connection between 11 and the Upside Down.
Yeah.
Because that could be both emotional, like it was with Dustin and Dart, and also kind of supernatural too, because she has more of a connection, as we saw in season 1 and here, with the Demogorgon and the whole realm than anyone.
Yeah, she has
Yeah.
more answers than anyone. Excuse me, I'm yawning. She has more answers than anyone, it seems like, some of the time when it comes to the Upside Down and
Yeah.
stuff.
Real quick, so I want to get to the moments where I thought people were going to die.
Okay.
Okay.
So I had a brief moment of fear when Dustin approached Dart, full-grown Dart. Well, not full-grown, but
Teenage Dart.
what do you call them? Demodogs?
Yeah,
Oh, Demodogs. That was cute how he was.
Demodog
It's
Dart.
like, stop trying to make fetch a word.
And then the moment where Hopper was blasting them away from 11 in the shaft as she was doing. Can't say shaft.
I
was gonna
gonna
repeat
say
after
it
you.
too.
But then I was like, I'm just gonna let it roll.
Oh boy!
Shaft.
I mean, like, what would you call that besides shaft?
You know, it makes me
said it
think
again.
of like window cleaners when they go up on the thing on
Yeah.
skyscrapers. Like you're in a box
Yeah.
that can be lifted. I don't know.
Anyway.
So
Anyway.
when Hopper was blasting from the shaft.
Oh god. Word. That's insane.
Oh my god.
Someone needs to draw a picture of that.
Oh my god. Ew. All right. So Hopper's blasting, and I thought that there were too many. You know.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be the end. And then my poor boy Steve. I thought he was going to sacrifice himself at the last moment when Dustin is behind and he's in the Upside Down and everyone is getting out. I thought there was going to be a moment where Steve was left behind.
Yeah. No, you're right. That
I
moment
was like
so
preparing for
scary.
that
Yeah,
too.
me
I was
too.
scared. And I was like, no, like I like Steve too much now. This is so
Yes.
not chill.
No.
There was a point when I said,
they ran past. That was crazy.
There's a point. Who was it? Was it Steve or Jim? When I was like, if Steve dies, I quit. I think it was in that moment too, when I thought he was gonna like save Dustin's life and
Same.
sacrifice himself.
Now, lastly, any season 3 theories? I know that we mentioned that we all think that 8's going to come back for next season, right?
Yeah,
I do.
for
Yeah,
sure.
or else. Not that it would be pointless, but it would be kind of a waste because I want to see them again. I want to see it again, like them come back.
Me too. My theory is that we're going to see much less, if any, Upside Down next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to take a little bit of a back seat because maybe they need to power it up again. Like that,
Right.
the shadow monster or this or that needs to make a new plan. He just got a door closed in his face, you know?
He just got fucked.
I have an
up.
idea if you guys want to bear with me.
Yeah, what?
Let's hear
It's
it.
not too long, but okay. So what if like, you know how the gang of people that was with Kali 8, you know how their goal, like led by her, is to assassinate people that have hurt them.
Yes.
Okay, so what if when Jim went back, like when Jim made the agreement with these people at Hawkins, whatever happened to him, like he had to make an agreement that ended up hurting one of these kids or Kali herself, even though he doesn't know who they are.
Okay.
So they come back because one of the guys on their list is Jim Hopper. So then everyone else has to go against them because they're trying to assassinate Jim Hopper for their agenda because they don't know what a good guy he is. They just know that he made deals with Hawkins.
I think that they might even just see his name on a list.
Exactly.
Right, yeah. Or
As someone who like signed something.
But
or...
that was more recent, not when they were kids growing up there.
Yeah, but you never know like what they know.
Yeah,
You know
or
what I mean?
maybe that doctor who is still alive.
the doctor
Exactly.
from the
Yeah.
fucking diner who Hopper spoke with.
Yeah,
Maybe a mix of that, yeah.
maybe something there.
So then they would have to be like at odds in a way.
Because, I mean, like, right now,
One of them would have to die.
everyone likes the doctor, right? Like, he's a good guy now, right?
He is in
I don't
a
know.
way.
He's kind of a dick.
I don't think he's helped much.
No, but he's not, like, I wouldn't put him on Papa's
I
level.
didn't, yeah,
No.
like, because remember when he was like, oh, what, so we're just gonna kill the kid, you know?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
actually cared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other people didn't, and he did, and he
Yes.
said, hold it.
I
So.
think the show made a point to separate him morally from the rest.
Yeah,
Which
they
makes
did.
me think that he's going to be back.
You're right. He'll maybe play more of a role.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, like Amy said, maybe it'll be him that they know worked there. So they're like, this guy's got to die, and
Yeah.
something will
You know,
happen.
And that's why they come back.
That is a good theory, Amy, because if they just come back to find 11, that's kind of just like a standard plot.
Yeah, they
But if they
need
come back
something.
at odds with the characters, that's a bit meatier.
Yeah. I have
Hire me, I'll write the next season.
I have two things to point out that, well, you know when all the demodogs were making noises in the
Demodogs.
lab and like nobody else in Hawkins is like drawing any attention to
Oh,
it?
yeah.
How like dumb everyone is. And then
Yes.
it brings me to, well, the conspiracy guy, Murray, how I loved when he watered it down or whatever for everyone. And that was the whole problem the whole time, that everybody was in hiding, like 11 and Hopper. Nobody can say anything because it's too crazy of a thing to believe. You
Right.
can't say that.
You
like
can't just
these
come out with it.
Yeah, these weird
Yeah.
alien creatures are taking over or something. So I loved how they used a different method of being like, oh, this lab is just performing things that
Very
are
It was
clever.
nice
making
too
people
because-
sick or like
without the huge like responsibility and weight of trying to understand like other dimensions and crazy supernatural creatures. What's her name? Barb's parents got some kind of closure, which was so nice.
Yeah. And I think, well, for season 3 now, they emptied out the lab. We see everybody driving away.
That's done, yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe the whole buildup of season 3 is going to be nobody's watching that door opening anymore. So it's not being monitored, controlled, detained, nothing, because nobody's in the lab.
But
so
it can't just not. Yeah.
yeah, so maybe by season 4, it'll be like, oh, well, now shit's going to go to shit again because nobody has been keeping an
It
eye
reminds
on
me
it.
of the Hellmouth.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
for sure.
We're all big Buffy fans.
We love
here.
Buffy.
Oh yeah,
So before we move to the questions, any other Stranger Things points?
I think that's
Anyone
it.
touch
Super
on?
excited for next season, and I want to watch the talk show about it, which we haven't yet.
Oh yeah, Beyond Stranger Things. Got to get to that.
So we'll do that soon.
But yeah, I mean, this is one of the one shows where when it's over, I'm like, I need the next one.
I know.
Right now.
And they
It's like
said
addicting.
2019 is when it's coming.
2018, right?
Back. I think I heard 2019.
No.
I can't.
No,
That can't
That's
be true.
can't be
too
true.
long.
It can't be true, especially because they age. You know, the kids age.
I know,
Right.
but they're probably
and
shooting
especially
it right
quicker
away.
because they're young. Like,
Yes.
they're gonna be like
Yeah.
looking older soon.
I'm praying for 2018.
Same.
But all right, question.
But take your time, guys.
We have some questions from our readers and listeners of the podcast. All right, so Matt Ruiz asks, what inspired you to jump into the field? What was the biggest obstacle you faced when jumping in? And by field, I'm thinking that Matt here means
Like writing and publishing.
right, like producing graphic novels, because Matt discovered us through our Modern Dread campaign.
Oh, so just recently.
Just recently.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, I guess you know what? I want to ask you both first. What made you want to do these creative ventures? Because I know that Shannon edits for us, and Amy writes and sculpts for Space Between. But you both had a creative aspect of your life pre-Space Between. So I want to talk to you each and see your thoughts on Matt's question.
Okay. Well, I was immediately intrigued when Pat asked me to be a part of it. I'm an avid book reader.
Worked at a bookstore.
Yeah, I worked at a bookstore with Pat. That's how we met each other. And I have a big art history background. So having art actually be a part of the creating process was pretty much a sold thing to me.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of graphic novels why I think it should really be more popular, because there is such a huge amount of artistic talent going into them.
Yes.
That it's incredible. I couldn't turn that down.
Yeah, because you know what? Comics are still niche, but I don't really know why.
Either do I.
It's I think it's the distribution and the marketing, because reading a comic to me doesn't seem that different. It's not objectively nerdier than watching a film, but yet if you ask someone favorite movie, favorite TV show, favorite artist, as far as music goes, everyone has an answer. Favorite comic? Oh, I don't read comics. You know, it's very niche, and I think that is.
It's like the country music of reading.
It is.
Oh, everything but country.
Yes.
Oh, everything but comics.
It's true.
That's
and
so true.
And it's strange because comics is as varied a media as anything.
It's very easily compared to Netflix and binging
Oh,
TV
sure.
shows. I mean, you've got series coming out in book form,
Yep.
and you follow the stories each time. I don't
And
know
you fall in
why.
love with the characters.
Yeah.
And you want to know what happens to them.
How about you, my love, my wife,
Oh, me.
my star?
Oh, he's a poet.
I'm a poet.
For me, breaking into the industry specifically, like I've always read since I was a kid, read books, fantasy, and realistic fiction. Mostly, I love stories, and I love art, and I love musical theater, so I've always done that. But when I met Pat is when I started learning that there's different kinds of comics besides superhero comics, which are also great, and there's a lot of characters that you can empathize with and fall in love with there. I just never was really interested in doing that. So when I learned that there was other kinds of comics besides that, I began interested in like reading them and just watching Pat go to the conventions and having people appreciate him for the stories that he tells really attracted me to that and to him. And so I really now that we're married, I wanted to be, I wanted to be not only there as support, but I wanted to be a part of what he did. And so now I'm like, he has invited me, and I'm happy to be a part of the business of the production, because I feel like I've always been an artist, and in this way I can help in my favorite kind of way. So that is what brought me to this profession.
what brought up me is to go back to it is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, yeah, we're big fans too of Buffering the Vampire Slayer podcast.
Great
Shout out.
Run by Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristen Russo. If you want to check them out, they're on iTunes and everywhere.
And they're didn't they do?
Yeah, they wrote a short story in the back of Destiny New York Volume 2.
Right.
Which will debut
Alongside my short story.
alongside Amy's,
Yeah.
which will debut online and in stores in 2018 summer. So what inspired me to jump in was actually Buffy. I learned that creator Joss Whedon was going to continue Buffy with Buffy season 8 through comics, and I hadn't really read that many comics. I was given a few as a kid. I enjoyed them, especially Stephen King's Creepshow. I thought was super cool. But beyond that, I never searched out comics until Buffy came to be. So I started to read the Buffy comics, the Angel comics, and I found that comics creators were more accessible to buyers, to readers, than any other form of creator. I couldn't go online and talk to Joss Whedon, but I could go online and talk to someone who was writing his comics.
True.
And that was unique. And I was able to develop connections in the industry through social media in a way that I haven't seen happen in other industries.
Yeah, well, even the convention format. It's
Oh,
not
sure.
like you go somewhere and you get to meet, regular
The creator
book
of the-
writers.
Yeah.
Like, this is, more
totally.
personal.
Because
for sure.
say if a filmmaker goes to Comic-Con, you'll see him at a panel, you'll see her like
You'll pay to take a picture.
at a sign, pay to take a picture, shake their hand, move on. With a comics creator, they're at their table selling books themselves.
Yeah.
That's unique.
Very
And
cool.
that attracted me to the industry. And the accessibility of editors, writers, and artists made it. I saw a path to break in, and I took it. And the second part of the question, the biggest obstacle for me, biggest obstacle continues to be the financial aspect. It's you have to working full-time in comics, you can't expect the same frequency, reliability, or amount of money as you would working full-time elsewhere. Sometimes I can write a script and I'll get paid the next week, and I'll get more money for one day of work than I would for 2 weeks of working a day job. Or I could work a month full-time every single day and not get the same as I would for a week of working full-time at a day job.
Yeah.
It's not reliable is the problem. And that isn't an obstacle keeping me from breaking in. This is an obstacle that we all face in this industry in a more existential way, in a more consistent way.
Yeah, have respect for the writers and artists out there, because that's what they're dealing with.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone is struggling to make a living off of this.
Absolutely. Our final question today, because we're kind of toward the end of our time, ties into what Amy mentioned. This question comes from Lee Farnsworth. He says, "You've done so many conventions. Are there any due to being poorly run, poor attendance, rude people, or any other reason that you would probably not do again?" The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
We actually, every time we do a convention for the first time, if we haven't done it before, we'll be like, all right, depending on the profit, depending on, how far, well, it all comes into profit, but depending on how far away it is, depending on the time it takes to get there and everything, and if we either sleep at home or in a hotel, this and that, how much we make, like, because every convention has like a different vibe. Like some of them are more, toy centric, where there's going to be a bunch of really nicely made, like handcrafted toys, and not too many stories, not too many comics. So a lot of people are there more for that, and they're not interested in buying a book.
Right.
And so even though it's nice, even though it's pleasant, the profit's not the best. So we decide, that's not worth going again next year.
Right.
Or the people who run the convention will
hard sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And we just decide like, no, we're not coming back here just because it's not worth it.
Right. There's it's funny to me as far as people who have taken care of us at conventions. There are two kinds of convention runners. There are the ones that are perfectly competent, so nice, take care of us, are just the best. And then there are the absolute unrepentant assholes. There's really no in between. We will know instantly, like, we'll go in and we'll be greeted and talked to as if we just vomited it all over the floor for no reason. And I think that could be a case of people who just love the content. What they want to create a convention, they want to surround themselves by comics, and they get overwhelmed instantly. That could be the case. Mm-hmm. But I think that there is definitely a problem with treatment of creators as far as conventions go.
Mm-hmm.
Because
an organization.
Yes. We've had conventions that have gone great and conventions that have gone not. I don't want to call out names here,
right?
But the ones that we don't like, we'll just not return to, you know?
Right.
Are there some that you would give a second chance to? Like, as in, maybe they were too new, like they didn't know how to run it yet, or maybe
and the second time around, it's been much better.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, and we learned too. Like FlameCon, our first year there wasn't that good. You know, it was a great show, it was fun, but I didn't bring the right content, and we didn't make any money.
I was gonna say it will change too, depending, like, because our content will change. Like before we came out with Destiny, New York Volume 1,
right?
We had a lot of things that Pat had written and everything, but from from different companies, from whatever else, and it was more of a little bit of like a collection. Whereas now it's more focused,
right?
Like the banner matches our stuff, and soon we're gonna have Clonsters, so it's a different set of things that we're selling. Which now, you know, maybe we'll decide to go to another convention depending on the what's it called, the stock that we have, you know.
Yeah, because now FlameCon last year was our most successful con.
Mm-hmm.
It went from a loss to the best win of the whole year.
But too, it was such a cool vibe there, and just shout out to FlameCon. We're not gonna like say names of the bad ones, but FlameCon's
the best.
Dope,
we
and I love it.
them.
It's a constant like party. FlameCon. It's super chill though. It's really nice. They play the best music all weekend, let me tell you. But yeah, I just wanted to go too, even though the first time we didn't make too much profit. I thought it was a blast. So I really wanted to go. So we did, and we ended up doing much better there because of the content that we had.
So good.
And I mean, they run it good too, with like, they're saying it's a safe space, you know, like they seem more open to, I don't know, maybe if you had complaints, who knows?
No, it's a great show, well put together. The people who are there are empathetic to our creators. It's my favorite.
A lot of great artists too.
So good.
Like I do a walk around for myself for shopping reasons. I do a walk around trying to get business cards to see if I definitely want to collaborate with several people there when I walk through. So anyway.
I think it's time to wrap up, you guys.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thanks for being
here.
Thank you.
This has been the Space Between podcast. You can follow us at Space Between Ent on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you want to have your questions answered, you can hit us up there or email us at spacebetweenent@gmail.com. So again, thank you for listening, and bye guys.
Bye.